Most men think when you walk away from a woman, it's the end. They believe she'll forget them instantly, move on, and never look back. Wrong. That's not how psychology works. When you walk away with strength, when you remove your presence, something shifts deep inside her mind. Suddenly, the attention she once took for granted is gone. And human nature is simple. People only start valuing what they no longer have. The silence you create becomes louder than any words you could say. She begins to replay your presence, your energy, your impact, until it starts haunting her thoughts. Missing you isn't random, it's triggered by psychology. And today, I'm going to break it down, step by step, so you finally understand how walking away doesn't make her forget you, it makes her crave you. 1. Scarcity and silence. Trigger the recall loop. When you walk away with composure, you don't just leave, you create scarcity, and scarcity changes value instantly. The same presence she skimmed past yesterday suddenly feels rare today. Not because you begged, not because you explained, because you removed access. Human nature is predictable. We only start measuring what we're losing when it's no longer guaranteed. Your silence becomes a mirror. It forces her to sit with the space you used to fill, your voice, your steadiness, your energy. That absence presses on her mind like a thumbprint. It doesn't shout, it echoes. Here's what actually happens. First, she reaches for the familiar hit, your attention. No response. Her brain doesn't file it as rejection. It files it as an open loop, unfinished, unresolved. That open loop keeps spinning, replaying old moments, small details she ignored when you were around. The way you looked at her without flinching. The calm in your tone. The way you didn't try to prove yourself. She starts re-editing the past, searching for clues. Was he always that composed? Did I misread him? Why do I feel this pull now? That's not magic. That's tension doing its job. Most men ruin this moment. They walk away, then panic, then check in, then post thirst traps for attention, then send the long paragraph. That collapses the entire effect. The power isn't in walking away. The power is in staying away with dignity. No reactions, no emotional leaks, no cryptic stories aimed at her. True silence, paired with a life that visibly moves forward, turns you from an option into a standard. She doesn't miss men who orbit her. She misses the man who orbits his purpose. Your job isn't to punish. It's to protect your frame, keep your routine, train, build, laugh with people who respect your time. Answer when it's practical, not emotional. If she reaches out, match her energy, but don't overcorrect. Short, warm, unbothered. When you demonstrate that you are self-contained, her curiosity spikes. Curiosity becomes comparison. Comparison becomes craving. Craving becomes contact. Understand this. Missing you isn't about your absence. It's about the quality of the presence she lost. When you walk away clean, no bitterness, no scenes, you teach her something her ego can't unlearn. You were a privilege, not a possession. And once that truth lands, the mind does what it always does with rare things. It starts wanting them back. 2. Emotional contrast. Hits harder than you think. When you walk away, you don't just leave her with silence. You leave her with contrast. And contrast is what makes the human brain wake up. Think about it. While you were around, she got used to your presence. The comfort of knowing you'd text back, the security of your attention, the energy you brought into her life. Even if she didn't consciously value it, her nervous system registered it. That steady flow became the background music to her days. But the moment you step away, that soundtrack cuts off. And what replaces it? Emptiness. That's the power of emotional contrast. She goes from certainty to uncertainty, from fullness to void. Suddenly, little things remind her of you. The joke she would have sent to you now just sits in her head. The story she wanted to share goes unsaid. The way her day used to feel smoother with you in it now feels jagged. She might not admit it to anyone, but she feels the withdrawal. Because the human brain is wired to crave balance. And when you take your energy out of her life, she feels the imbalance instantly. Most men fail here. They try to ease the transition. They leave, but not fully. They still like her posts. They still hover in her messages. They still give her crumbs of attention, just enough for her to never feel the contrast. And guess what? That kills the effect. She doesn't miss you because she never experiences life without you. The only way contrast works is when you fully remove your presence. Cold turkey. That's when her mind starts replaying what it's lost. Here's the psychology. People remember peaks and absences more than steady flow. When you're always available, you become invisible. But when you remove yourself, you become unforgettable. Because now she compares every dull conversation, every flat interaction with others, to the way she felt around you. The laughter, the tension, the spark. That contrast makes you stand out even louder in her memory than when you were physically there. So understand this. Walking away isn't about punishment. It's about creating contrast so sharp it rewires her emotional memory. She won't just miss you because you're gone. She'll miss you because no one else feels the same. And that craving, that emptiness, that comparison, those are the roots of obsession. 3. Curiosity becomes her silent enemy. When you walk away, you don't just remove your presence, you remove her access to certainty. And the female mind hates uncertainty when it comes to attraction. Curiosity is a drug, and the less she knows about what you're doing, the stronger the dose becomes. Suddenly, the man she thought she figured out is a question mark, and unanswered questions keep her mind restless at night. She wonders where you are, who you're with, why you haven't checked in, and why you seem completely fine without her. That's when the pull starts tightening, not because you're chasing, but because she's chasing answers. Here's the psychology. The brain despises open loops. When something feels unfinished, the mind keeps circling it, looking for closure. And your absence creates the biggest loop of all. Before, she had predictable access to you. She knew your patterns. She knew you'd reply. She knew she could reach for your energy at any time. But now, nothing. Silence. That lack of clarity drives her curiosity into overdrive. She'll start checking your social media. She'll bring your name up in casual conversations. She'll even test mutual friends for information. Why? Because the unknown burns hotter than certainty. Most men ruin this power. They walk away but still broadcast everything, posting every move, every night out, every update, desperate for her to notice. That doesn't create curiosity. It feeds her answers. She doesn't wonder because she knows. And when she knows, she doesn't miss you. The power of walking away isn't in showing off your new life. It's in living it quietly. Let her imagination fill in the blanks. And trust me, her imagination will always paint a more powerful picture than anything you could post. The beauty of curiosity is that it works silently. She won't admit it. She might even act cold if she sees you. But behind the scenes, her mind is running laps. What's he up to? Why isn't he reaching out? Has he already replaced me? Does he even care? That storm of questions creates emotional chaos. And here's the key. Chaos is the birthplace of obsession. Because the more she can't solve the puzzle, the more invested she becomes in finding the missing piece. So remember this. Curiosity is not weakness, it's leverage. Don't kill it with overexposure. Protect it by staying composed, mysterious, and focused on yourself. When she can't predict you, she can't forget you. And when she can't forget you, she starts missing you more than she ever admits. 4. The ego feels the loss before the heart does. When you walk away, the first part of her that notices isn't her heart, it's her ego. See, attraction and ego are tied together in ways most men don't realize. While you were around, your attention was her silent validation. Every text you sent, every call you made, every time you showed up, it confirmed she still had your interest. That validation fed her ego, even if she didn't openly acknowledge it. But the moment you pull back, that supply vanishes. And that's when her ego takes the first hit. Suddenly, she's not sure if she still has that hold over you. And nothing rattles a woman's psychology more than the idea that she lost control of the attention she thought was hers by default. Here's the truth. Women are used to men chasing. They're used to men proving themselves, begging, pleading, and competing for their time. So when you don't play that game, when you step back and refuse to feed her ego, it creates a void she can't ignore. That's why she starts testing you. Maybe she sends a casual hey. Maybe she posts something just to see if you'll respond. Maybe she even mentions you indirectly to mutual friends. None of that is random. It's her ego fishing for confirmation that she still matters in your world. And when that confirmation doesn't come, that's when the missing starts to turn sharp. Most men fail here because they can't resist feeding the ego when she baits them. She sends one breadcrumb and they sprint after it, giving her exactly what she craved, proof that she still has power. That collapses the entire effect. The strength is in not reacting, in letting her sit with the discomfort of uncertainty, because discomfort is what forces growth. And in this case, it forces her to realize your presence wasn't just ego food, it was emotional fuel. And here's where it gets deeper. Once her ego feels the loss, her emotions follow. She starts asking herself, why do I even care so much? Why does it bother me that he's not chasing? And that internal questioning flips the script. She goes from being the one evaluated to being the one doing the evaluating. That's the shift you want. So remember this. Walking away isn't just about attraction. It's about starving her ego until her emotions wake up. When you stop being her guaranteed validation, she doesn't just notice your absence, she feels it. And once her ego cracks, her heart follows. That's when missing you stops being surface level and starts cutting deep. 5. Comparison becomes your greatest ally. When you walk away, you do more than remove yourself. You force her to compare. And comparison is brutal because it always exposes the truth. While you were around, she didn't have to measure you against anyone else. She had your presence, your attention, your consistency. But once you're gone, the contrast begins. Every man she talks to, every conversation she entertains, every date she tries, whether she admits it or not, gets stacked up against you. And here's the part she can't escape. If you carried yourself with strength, calmness, and confidence, most men won't measure up. That realization doesn't just make her notice you. It makes her miss you. Think about it. You held eye contact without flinching. You didn't flood her with desperate messages. You weren't afraid to walk away when the energy shifted. That combination separates you from the average guy who bends over backwards for scraps of attention. So when she meets the next man, the one who talks too much, tries too hard, or crumbles under pressure, her mind doesn't celebrate him. It quietly replays you. And every new disappointment becomes fuel for missing you more. Not because you're perfect, but because you are different. Most men don't understand this principle. They walk away, but then they secretly hope she won't meet anyone else. That's weakness talking. The truth is, you want her to meet others. You want her to go out there and see what's really on the market. Why? Because every time another man falls short, you rise higher in her memory. You don't even have to say a word. She does the comparison herself. That's psychology you can't fight. It's automatic. Here's where the trap lies. If you break your silence too soon, if you reappear before the comparisons have time to work, you rob yourself of leverage. The power is in time. The longer you stay composed, the more chances life gives her to encounter men who don't have your energy. And with each encounter, the gap between you and the rest widens. That gap is what creates longing. So remember this: walking away isn't about making her lonely. It's about letting the world remind her why you stood out. Every flat conversation, every unimpressive gesture, every weak attempt from another man strengthens your position without you lifting a finger. Missing you isn't just nostalgia. It's the cold realization that what she had with you isn't easily replaced. And once that truth sets in, comparison turns into craving, and craving turns into obsession. 6. Memories turn into triggers. She can't escape. When you walk away, you don't just leave her with silence, you leave her with memories. And here's the psychological twist: memories don't stay neutral. They evolve, they sharpen, they hit harder with time. At first, she might brush you off, thinking, "I'll move on." But days turn into weeks, and the smallest things begin pulling her back to you. A song you once joked about, a cafe you both visited, even the way another man phrases a sentence. Suddenly, the world is filled with reminders of you, and each one reopens the space you left behind. That's when missing you stops being casual and starts becoming constant. Here's why. The human brain is wired to link emotions with moments. When she laughed with you, when she felt the tension in your presence, when she opened up and shared pieces of herself, her brain stored those emotions in memory. And when you're gone, the memories replay with amplified effect because there's nothing new to overwrite them. That's why silence is so powerful. It forces her to live inside the echo of the past. And the more those echoes repeat, the stronger the longing becomes. Most men destroy this effect because they can't resist reminding her directly. They send throwback texts, inside jokes, remember when messages. That ruins the psychology. Because instead of her brain naturally replaying the best moments, you're force-feeding them, and that makes you look needy. The key is to let the world do the reminding for you. The more you stay absent, the more the environment itself becomes your ally. Everything around her has the potential to turn into a trigger, and once she can't escape those triggers, missing you becomes automatic. Here's the deeper truth. Nostalgia is a slow burn, but it's relentless. She won't miss you for the big dramatic gestures. She'll miss you for the tiny, almost invisible things. The way you said her name, the pause before you answered, the calmness you carried in chaos. And the more she notices these small details missing in her new experiences, the more the old ones shine. That shine is what creates emotional attachment long after physical presence is gone. So remember this. Walking away isn't about proving a point. It's about letting her own memories work against her. Every trigger, every flashback, every quiet moment of recall is proof that you're still living rent-free in her mind. And once memories become her enemy, there's no escape. She starts missing you everywhere she goes. 7. The shift from control to craving. When you walk away, the final stage of psychology kicks in, the shift from control to craving. See, when you were present, she had control. She could predict your calls, your replies, your energy. She could lean on the comfort of knowing you were there whenever she wanted. That control gave her confidence. But the second you step away, that control is shattered. And the human mind hates losing what it once had power over. That loss doesn't just sting, it creates craving. Because now she isn't choosing your attention, she's chasing it. Here's what happens beneath the surface. At first, she might act unfazed. She might even put on a show, posting more, laughing louder, pretending you're just a passing thought. But the truth is, The more she tries to prove she doesn't care, the more her subconscious betrays her. That's when the cracks start showing. She double-checks her phone at night. She wonders why you haven't reached out. She replays moments in her head, not because she wants to, but because she can't stop. That shift, from being in control of your attention to craving it, marks the beginning of obsession. Most men never see this stage because they break too soon. They rush back in the moment she shows a flicker of interest. They feed her ego, hand her back control, and the craving vanishes. But the man who stays calm, the man who holds his silence and lets her sit with the discomfort, becomes the man she can't get rid of in her thoughts. Because now she's the one checking, waiting, and chasing. And psychology is simple. What we chase, we value more. Here's the beauty of this shift. Craving rewires her perspective of you. Suddenly, you're not the man who wanted her. You're the man she needs to have back in her world. That reversal flips the power dynamic completely. She stops asking, "Is he still interested?" and starts asking, "How do I get his attention again?" That question fuels her actions, testing, reaching out, finding ways back into your orbit. And the longer she craves without full satisfaction, the deeper the hook goes. So remember this. Walking away isn't about anger, punishment, or playing games. It's about triggering the natural psychological shift where she loses control and starts craving what she once took for granted. That craving isn't casual. It's magnetic. And once it takes hold, she doesn't just miss you. She feels pulled back toward you again and again, no matter how much she resists. Now you see the truth. A woman doesn't start missing you the moment you walk away. She starts missing you when silence, contrast, curiosity, ego, comparison, and memory all stack against her until craving takes over. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about understanding psychology. The human mind always values what it no longer controls, and the female mind is no different. When you stay calm, composed, and unbothered, you flip the script. Instead of you chasing her, she begins chasing the feeling only you gave her. Most men collapse under pressure. They rush back too soon. They over-explain. They feed her ego, and in doing so, they erase the power of walking away. But the man who holds his ground, who lets her feel the loss without bitterness or begging, becomes unforgettable. That's when memories turn into triggers, comparisons turn into disappointments, and silence turns into obsession. So remember this. Walking away isn't the end. It's the beginning of her missing you. And once her heart shifts from control to craving, you're no longer just the man she once knew. You're the man her mind refuses to let go of.